Okay, so I'm picking up from where we left off the last time, and that was when we had an upward or bullish posture, upward trend, and what we were looking for were either a break in the um, URL, which is located up here. Let me just make that. This is the URL over here. Um, there it is. So once we have the first URL from the most recent change, which is here, we want it to be broken before either the support step is broken, and the support step is all the way over here. There it is over there. And what happens is we have a URL form over here, and we have a DSL form here. By the time we have the first DSL, we're looking for a second one to be broken and for it to be lower, and that happens here. This DSL forms all the way to the right here, and one close below it over there prompts us to get into a bearish position, which I will draw to you now. We're just going to zoom in on that. Okay, so there's the second. There's your close is right over there. There it is. So we turn to a bearish posture. So once we have the break to the downside, turning to the rule set, the first thing we do is we mark a resistance step, and we take the most recent high between the reversal bar and the most recent URL, and or the reversal bar and the beginning of the most recent DSL break, if there is one. In this case, there is a DSL break. This is the most recent one, and that's the high, and that's where we get this line over here. So the DSL forms is broken. It's the second DSL, which prompts us for a reversal. It is two DSL breaks is the equivalent of one step break. We take the highest point between the beginning of the DSL and the break itself, which is there. That becomes our resistance step, or stop, if you will. They're almost one and the same. Price action immediately continues in the upward direction, prompting us to reverse yet again. And the resistance step is now broken over here, and we now turn to a bullish posture. First thing we do is we find the lowest low between the reversal bar and the most recent DSL. Well, there's the reversal bar, and the most recent DSL, I believe, is going to be this one. So we'll have to measure, and by the time that happened, it did not. So the most recent DSL would be that bar, and therefore that is where our break is going to be there. So I'll just adjust that to reflect that our break is there. Oh, but it's the lowest point, so it's the lowest point from the most recent DSL, which is this piece here, and from there to there is the lowest point. So that's our step for us to move forward. And now that we're in a bullish direction, we've located our support step. The next thing we look for is the upward resistance level, okay, which happens over here. There it is. That's the first URL. Now we keep it until it's broken, and it looks like it's eventually broken here. Whilst that takes place, we do also get a downward DSL break, but there's only one. Doesn't really matter then. Price continues. So now that we have the first URL break, which is rule number 3, we redraw the SS, the support step. And in this case, once the URL is broken, we have permission to redraw the step. And step we use is formula A, which is 3, 1. which says once the URL is broken by one close, that happens over here. Okay, here's the URL. The level is there, it's closed. We mark the lowest low between the bar that makes the URL and the bar that breaks the URL. So this is the bar that makes the URL, this is the bar that breaks, this is the lowest point. That is our new step. But if you notice that this line starts becoming dotted, this is an adjustment in terms of rule 3.2, which is formula B. Formula B raises the step because price action has moved away from there by a ATR threshold, which is a user input. And this is rule 3.2, formula B. And that becomes the input for the level of the, and the price continues to come up at such point where this is the, seems to be the highest point, at which time we get a DSL break. See, a DSL, now many DSL forms all the way up. That's a DSL, you know, because of the distance, but it's not broken. So that's another DSL. That's one. That's one. That could be a DSL, and that could be the first break right there. So let's check that. Yeah, that looks like there's a DSL break. So we'll call that the first DSL break right there. Change that to orange. There's your first break. And now we look for another one. So we'll just duplicate that. And it looks like we get another one here. So it looks like that is the turning point there. That's our oh, but it has to be lower. So we have to find a point that is lower than that. The DSL breaks can be lower. So we have to find one that is lower. That's too long. Those don't count. This one doesn't. This one does not count because it's higher. See? There it is. It's broken somewhere around there, but it's above. So we can't use it. It can only happen below. And there is the second one that is below. Reverse. And now we get to a downward trend. First thing we do is we draw a resistance step. The resistance step is the reversal bar and the most recent URL. The most recent URL is there, and there's the reversal step. But we must take the most recent between reversal bar and most recent URL, or reversible and the beginning of the most recent DSL break if there is one. Well, this is the beginning of the DSL break. There's the highest point, and that works. So this URL, in terms of being a choice for measuring the resistance step, is eliminated. We rather use the second DSL break and use that as this entry level.